Now let's get straight to the stories that have made it to the front pages of the newspaper, kicking off with Daily Trust. Now for Daily Trust, we have on the top left, rather boldly, commercial drivers and others tax government on infrastructure, refueling station and CNG. They decry high conversion cost. Petrol filling station should be made to install gas facility. All right, that's what we have. On the top left, we have Lagbaja not dead, says Army. Legal battle over electricity tariff hike, not over man. And 11 killed in Anambra court clash. Bottom left, we have police arrest and release hashtag EndSARS Memorial protesters. And Jigawa tanker explosions, death toll hit 180. DSS replaces Tinubu chief security officer. And Taj Bank pays second dividend. Shareholders fund grows by 960%. Well, those are the stories we have on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. So if you're looking to get detail on that, do well to get the Daily Trust newspaper for that. Now moving straight to Vanguard. Federal government, bolded there, federal government zero duty food import policy faces fresh hurdles. Customs agents hint at confusion among implementation agencies. Inflation exchange rates defeats policy's objective. Policy not optimal. EndSARS protesters arrested in Lagos. On the top left, Mogalu appointed President African School of Governance. CSOs kick as police arrest and disperse EndSARS Memorial protesters. Go on at 90. Obi replies critics, says Nigeria needs love, forgiveness to move forward. Scores killed in Anambra, Rivers court clash. DSS replaces Tinubu CSO Fasasi with Rashid Lawal. And we still have NAS proposes reintroduction of 5% excise duty on telecom betting services. Serap to Tinubu, stop weaponizing security agencies against Nigerians. And in sport, Libyan wants Libya punished for Super Eagles maltreatment. All right, those are the stories we have on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Now, joining us to analyze and talk about the stories on the front page of the newspaper, we have Ben Shemang, former director of News Voice of Nigeria, as he joins us via Zoom to review some of the headlines. Thank you for joining us this morning. All right. Okay, if you can hear us, thank you so much for joining us, Ben Shemang. Now we have kicking off with Daily Trust, commercial drivers and other task governors on infrastructure refueling station for CNG. Now we've seen stories through the week on CNG explosion and all the drama regarding CNG. What's your thought on this new move by the federal government to bring in CNG and Nigerians' reception and acceptance to it? Do you think Nigerians have enough information on it? Generally, what's your thought on this whole CNG innovation going on in Nigeria at the moment? Can you hear me? It seems we have a little bit of network glitch there. We hope we'll be able to reconnect.
I can hear you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're talking, the first question went on, which is for the story on the front page of Daily Trust. Commercial drivers and others tax government on infrastructure, refueling station, and they decry high cost of conversion. And they're saying that they need more places to refuel and install CNG and gas facilities for their cars. Now, what's your thought on this CNG conversion, the cost of it, and the overall implication? Do you think this would make any impact considering the cost of it and how Nigerians are receptive to it? Let's get your thought on that.
You see, honestly, the Nigerian ways of doing things. If you are talking of, let's start from, say, import. You ban something, then what's the substitution? If you say don't import this, so what's the substitution? In the same way, when we're talking about this conversion, what were the arrangements in terms of ensuring that in every filling station, once you enter there, is like trying to buy petrol. There's a petrol, there is pump attendant, and he grabs the hose and he gives you fuel, and you move on. But we now see that some people are saying that you can't just find it in some areas, and yet we are just jubilating. There's just this big hype concerning the product. Now, what are we also talking about? This is a new thing that people are talking. Look, it's exploding in some cars. So why is it exploding? Has the solution been what happened that it exploded? And so that will bring some kind of skepticism or some fears on the side of consumers. If I buy this, can it explode? Now, if it works in Europe, did we look at the environmental impact assessment? If we are here in Africa, in Nigeria, very hot environment, and in Europe there it's very cool. Do we carry just what is in Europe and just implement in Nigeria? What is the situation like? So this is where standards organization, SON in Nigeria will come in. But so far, if it's going to help in terms of environmental protection, why not? If it's going to bring cheaper energy, why not? So I vote for it.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing it actualize over time. You know, the actual problem sometimes we have is the high cost of the conversion kits, but we know that when that is overcome, I mean, it's easier, and with proper, you know, things that would avoid explosion, Nigerians having proper education. Well, let's see how it's going to turn out at the end of the day, and if it's going to favor Nigerians. Well, still on the stories that made it to the front pages across, you know, most newspapers I've seen this morning is the case of EndSARS protesters EndSARS Memorial protesters being arrested. Now, 20th October 2020 was a date that left scars in the hearts of Nigerians, with people not even sure of the information out there, with bleak information out there on what happened that day at the Lekki toll gate. To some, it was a massacre. To some, there was nothing that happened. Different stories. We also saw the panel being brought out. We saw people being brought to book. You know, lots of things happened on that day, and Nigerians still hold that day dear to heart. So what's your thought on the fact that, you know, people who went there as a memorial, you know, were arrested, you know, on yesterday?
I think the right to protest is still a constitutional guarantee in Nigeria. You cannot, remove that right that has been given right from birth to Nigerians. I think it is wrong on the side of the police that some people say, oh, we want to have a kind of a memoriam or to remember this day. And you just go again, arrest them. We have enough of detainees in prison. People there without a trial, even those on death row, they are there. You give death sentences that are too long, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years. Where is it done? And you remain there. Government is feeding you. Just a protest. Let's go and remember this day. Police should just go there, sit down on that tree and see these people. They'll just carry placards. They'll just sing. They'll dance 2-3 hours. They fizzle away. That is their right. But when you begin to just bring a force to bear, when we are looking for them to fight banditry in the northwest of this country, to fight kidnapping in the north of this country, they are just there disturbing society. I think it's a misnomer that people should be hindered from just remembering an event. Did they constitute nuisance? So I think that the police were wrong in this.
All right, now still on insecurity, like you said, instead of having them, you know, go for peaceful protesters, we're seeing court clashes till date. You know, it's shocking to see that we still have court clashes in Nigeria till date. 11 killed in Anambra and then also in Rivers State as well. What is your thought on the fact that we still have court clashes happening in Nigeria till date?
It's just a crazy thing that some people should not look at. What is it that they want? Is it power? Is it money? Okay, why don't you do it the legal way? What really is it? You want to control an environment? Now, many people are dead, so to speak. In today's 2024, that we're having cultism, secret cults, and we are killing ourselves in streets, in secret environments. And this is where the police ought to be working very well. In terms of intelligence, How do you deploy your intelligence? How do you gather information? Can't you be very, very preemptive? Can't you be very, very preventive, so that the moment they know the police are there, these things will not arise? You now have them with all sorts of guns. And look at what the National Security Advisor said last week, Nuhu Ribadu. He said most of the guns being used, light weapons being used today in Nigeria, are from government agencies. At what point did that transfer from government agencies to those who ordinarily shouldn't have these controlled items in their hands, now using them to cause mayhem? This is where the police, in fact, all the security agencies should come in. If we allow secret cult to continue today, and you now join it, just like Obasanjo was said, 20 million children roaming around. In the next 10 years, they're going to be recruits for Boko Haram or terrorism. So these are very big things that are waiting to happen. We ought to see that governors, they are becoming a problem to us. I was just seeing the other portion where they said Uzoduma demolishes whatever Rochas or Korocha did and all that. You look at the money involved, you look at people's money. Why can't we sing it in terms of getting better education, better? I mean, what really was it that politically we can't get it right?
All right, thank you so much for that. Now, quickly, just in a couple of seconds before you go, what's your thought on the fake news? Like the army came out, say it was a fake news saying that the chief of army staff, Lieutenant General Tarid Labaja, has died. They said it's a fake news, although they acknowledge that he's in critically ill in an undisclosed medical facility abroad. But as Nigerians came out with an information saying he's dead. You know, what's your thought on that, and what does this mean for our security architecture in Nigeria?
Yeah, I don't know what some people will want to benefit by. You want to be the first person to break fake news that the chief of army staff is dead. What really do you want to achieve? It's just to cause mayhem, cause uncertainty in society. You don't just wake up to say chief of army staff is dead. It's unwanted. It's not, look, it's unprofessional for it to have been done. Even if he's in hospital, he's a human being. He is a human being, and he can fall sick. So what is it? Somebody can have malaria. So what is wrong with that? We've seen some people. A general Olubumi Refi, when Corona came, he died. So are the soldiers immune to sicknesses? I don't think we should celebrate over things that are terrible to humanity.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for sharing your fresh thoughts and eye-opening thoughts on the stories that made it to the front pages of the newspaper. It's always good to have you join us on the show. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
That was Ben Shemang, former director of News Voice of Nigeria, who joined us via Zoom to, talk about stories that made it to the pages of the headlines and the front pages of newspaper this morning. Having said that, we've come to the end of Daybreak this morning here on Trust Television. It's good to have you. Thank you so much for sticking around. At the top of the hour, we have sports, and we have business, and we also have, our news at noon. So please do not touch that dial. We have a lot packed for you today. But from here, from Daybreak this morning, thank you so much for staying with us. We'll see you again, same time, same station tomorrow morning. My name is Lillian Ogazi. Bye for now.